Hello everyone. My name is Francis. I am co-founder of Sourceless, and this is our first workshop actually. Our campaign started since August, where we launched. We launched on August 1st, and the whole movement or rather, the whole mission of this initiative is to bring open source closer to people, to the mass, and be that bridge because there is actually gap when it comes to open source, both in consumption and contribution, and people itself, that the DPGs and the people. So, alongside my co-founder Victoria, we decided to make this work, and this is our first initiative, our first program, GitHub Workshop. It's important that we actually get to understand GitHub because going down the line, GitHub is what at least a whole lot of um, open source projects. That's what they actually use, and that's where they host their stuff. Uh, I mean, there are other alternatives out there. Like we have other Gits. I'm not just the word providers, but Git providers like there's Bitbucket, there is GitLab, and the rest of them. So okay, um, let's check if we can do you. Thank you. So yeah, this is the initiative. This is our movement, and our campaign has begun. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. So for today, we'll be having our Git basics. Yes, and I won't be the tutor. Yes, I won't be the tutor. We have Mr. Joseph. Is he here correctly? Just indicate if he's where is he? Mr. Joseph, are you in the house? Lucky Joseph.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
All right, great. Nice to meet you, Chief. So we have Lucky Joseph in the house. He's going to be taking us on today's session. He is an open source community manager, and he will be teaching us about GitHub, introduction and setup. So this is just, to get us warmed up and all going. Yes. So, um, Mr. Joseph, I think I shall push the session to you. The floor is all yours, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. Yeah, so good evening, everyone. And yeah, it's nice to meet you all. So just a moment, let me share my screen so that we can take it up from there. Yeah, so once again, good evening again. I'm sure we all can see the screen, right? So before I continue from here.
Yes, we
All
can.
right. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so by the way, I think Francis have made the introduction. My name is Lucky, and yeah, today basically we'll be having discussion around Git and GitHub. Yeah, even though most of the time when we're having such a section, there are people that are we will always have folks that are familiar with GitHub, and yeah, and we also have those that are still new into GitHub. And if you fall in that category of being new to GitHub, then yeah, throughout this section, I'll do justice by breaking it down in a very layman understanding that each and every one of us can flow along. Yeah. And yeah, if you're that GitHub Pro, feel free to follow along. And yeah, at the end, you might have the opportunity to contribute to it. Yeah, my name is Lucky. So, and what I do, I'm a GitHub campus expert, and yeah, I manage open source community, and I also lead the GitHub user group here in Nigeria. So you can connect me on LinkedIn with this is the full name, And yeah, you can also take down my email just in case if you have doubt or something, we can just take it up after the section. So before we dive into Git and GitHub, most of the time, people, I think most folks find it easy to differentiate between what is Git and what is GitHub. Right. Others feel like Git and GitHub are the same thing, right? So, but then to get more clarity on what these differences are, we just need to understand that before we have a full in-depth understanding of what is GitHub, we need to start by understanding version control systems. Now, for example, version control systems are just like systems that keep tracks of changes, like in our files and yeah, and softwares over time. So, for example, we have when you look at the right side of this slide, you can see super cool project like you can see an example with an Excel where this person is working on a project, but then these changes, to keep track of these changes, this is how this person is manually doing it. You see the first cool report version 1, second cool report version 2, 3 continuously. Now, this is how most of the time it is done back then till when you go down to the end, you see final update, which is new. And looking at this, you can see how tedious, how hectic it can be, like keeping track of change. Recall this definition here, version control that keep tracks of changes that we make. And yeah, then also when you look at the right side, you see that back in the days, how version control systems are being done. Like, so you see that sometimes people have their code on Drive, sometimes people upload it on their external hard disks. Sometimes people mail code, and sometimes people print codes too. Like this is how it is done back then. But then there is need for something more different, something better, right? Something that has a system that has better security, a systems that is open source, a system that is clean, that has clean history. When you look back here, the Excel report, you can see how this doesn't look clean. Imagine working on a project that you keep making changes and tracking it manually in this way. We all know how hectic this can be. So, but then having systems that provide all these options, that provide better security, open source, better branching, clean history, integrity, speed, scalability, and collaboration. That is what bad Git here. So yeah, and to give you an in-depth explanation or an in-depth definition of Git, Git is a version control system that is able to make it very easy for us to, yeah, for us to solve this problem that I've been able to explain here now. The tedious stress of manual tracking of our files. Git is able to sort it out. And in as much as Git, what makes it more interesting is that Git is a distributed system. It's also like free open source, right? And it has small footprint. Like for example, the examples you see here, you can follow all through the history of everything that you have done. And Git also allows collaboration in as much as the examples you saw behind of the examples you saw behind with Excel and all that, you notice that if it has been in those states till now, we won't have that opportunity to be, let's say, collaborating. We won't have those footprint, and it won't be that fast, because imagine having to make each changes. You copy this, you make these changes, you create a new file for this, make these changes. That can be so tedious. Now, we've heard about Git, right? So Git also, for some of us that know these and those that don't know these, there's also alternatives for Git, and these are some of the alternatives for Git, which is the fossil, the mercurial, and the subversion. Now that you have heard about what is Git, now you'll be wondering, what is the next thing? We have discussed Git. We need to now forge ahead because we'll be talking about Git and GitHub. So, but then before we go into Git and GitHub, if you're here and you're new and you don't know how or to get started with Git on your local machine, on your system, the first thing to do, right, to get Git started in your system is to navigate to either this link. Let me paste it. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you navigate to this link here, or alternatively, you can just search for Git on your browser, maybe Chrome or whichever it is. When you search on it, this link should be the first that will pop up on your screen. All right. I don't know if we're all following. If we are, just some reaction so that we can continue. Awesome. Thank you. So now, how Git works. You've heard about Git, and now how does it work? Now, Git operates in a particular. It operates in this simple format, whereby the two major principles of Git is all about sending and receiving, right? Collaborating remotely, right? So with Git, it works in this. Are you trying to say something? Someone's microphone is on. All right. So I think maybe the person does not know. Okay, awesome. Yeah. So this is the format that Git operates, which is more like pull and push and pull, right? Git operates. Those that are familiar with Git knows this. It has to do with communication between pushing to the central repository and receiving from the central repository. Like you push, I pull from here, and you from there, you pull the changes and you push back, I push in, I push. This is just more like, okay. The person tried downloading. I'll get back to the chat box later so that we'll continue. There will be question, so we'll continue from there. Yeah, so this is how Git works. You push and you pull. So this literally means that I just had to put this pictorial format to make it easy, like for us to understand, whereby we have three different people. Let's assume you have three different people working in one central repository, which is a repository online. We both can be able to work from different location by pushing to the central repository, pushing changes and pulling. Now, pushing changes is more like when you add changes from your end, you should be able to push it to the central repository, and somewhere, let's say you or Francis can just pull it into his local machine and make and run it and also push his own changes. So that's just a push and pull on Git. Now, another thing, right? Another more explanation, like more context on working with directory on working with your directory on Git. For example, right? Directory, to break it down for those that are new, directory are just like your folders that are in your systems, right? Let's say you have a project that is in a folder and you feel like, I need to get this project to Git. Let's say I want to work with this project with George, and I need to configure this project to work with Git. So you start by initializing it, which that is where you have working directory, where you need to have the working directory first. Then you initialize it using Git init. So when you initialize it, sorry if you're getting a little bit confused. When we start doing something around it, it will be more easy for us to flow along and understand how all this works. So you start by initializing it using Git init. When you initialize it, you stage it using Git add. After staging it, yeah, you commit it. You commit it to your local repository, which is the file on your system. After you commit it to the repository on your system, then you push it to the remote repository, which is like the central repository, which is online. And when it is on your local repository, it is just for you, just on your system. It means locally on your system. But then when you push it to the central repository, which is the remote repository, me myself here, I should be able to have access to the changes that you have pushed, and someone somewhere should also be able to have access to all this. All right, so let's forge ahead. And yeah, when you make the changes and push it, to the remote repository. Someone somewhere should be able to, when they clone the project into their local machine, they should be able to also pull it into their working repository as well. So let's go ahead and yeah, understand now that we have had how to walk around and navigate Git. We need to also in context get some understanding on what is GitHub. What is this GitHub? Let's see. I have, yeah, so most of the time when we see people write GitHub, they are fond of using H in small letter. So it's just a fun way of me telling you that it is capital H. Don't use GitHub like by writing GIT and everything small letter. Always capitalize your H, right? So I think I have a video here. And yeah, it's just a little bit of something around GitHub before I explain it. So you just have a look at it. Sorry, I need to confirm if we all can hear the sound. No sound?
Not yet, not yet.
No sound? And I'm sharing my entire screen. Okay, it's okay. Maybe when I share my slide, right, Francis and the rest can, the organizers will be able to share this to you. So, and yeah, I'm sorry about no sound. I don't know why, but get my whole screen and everything works. Click more and also, okay, let me try that. Click more. I am trying it. I can't find this. I don't know why. I can't find this share sound, but let me try to expand the screen. You see, I can't find this share sound. So I think let's not waste time on this. Maybe let's just continue and yeah, show my screen anyway. Okay. Okay. Please sorry about that, guys. I don't want to waste more time on this. So let me just explain this. Everything that we're supposed to watch on the video. Yeah, exactly. Maybe it's myth actually, because on Zoom, it's not supposed to be like that. It works perfect most of the time. So yeah, yeah, we've heard about Git. We have heard that Git is a version control system. And Git is open source, and we have had that gives you opportunity to collaborate. We have had that, yeah, Git is fast. We have had that, yeah, Git has footprint. Now, what is GitHub, right? We've had this is Git. So if you're someone that you have always thought that Git and GitHub is the same, now today you have be able to know that Git is just a version control system that helps you to keep track of changes that you make on your system, on your local machine. Now, why GitHub, right? GitHub is a cloud-based service, right? It's not like the version control system. But then Git is just the cloud-based service that helps you to store and manage your codes, and also helps you to also control those changes that you manage, that you store on your system. Now, Git also, it provides a user-friendly UI. Over the whole section, you have a look at it, how it works, and when you have a look at the UI, and yeah, Git also provides a complete ecosystems for you to write and ship your codes. The ecosystem is quite friendly too, just like just like our WhatsApp. Git is just very friendly. GitHub has a very friendly UI for everyone to go through. So yeah, just keep in mind, like I said before, Git is not GitHub. Git is your version control systems that keeps track of changes, while GitHub is a cloud-based systems that provides you with the opportunity to store and manage your codes online. Make sense? So now, if you're here, right, and you don't have a GitHub account, and you feel like, yeah, I feel like it is very important, is a necessity for everyone to always have a GitHub account. Some people used to feel like when they hear GitHub, they used to feel like this is something technical, and they feel like it's just for technical folks. But then Git is for everyone. GitHub is for everyone. Be it a software engineer, whatever you do, there's always a place for you on GitHub. There's always a place for you on GitHub. So today might be a good way for you to start. In order to get a GitHub account, you need to navigate to this link here, github.com, or you search for GitHub on your browser. When you do this, you should be able to follow the prompt. It's very easy. When you search GitHub on your browser, you should be able to see github.com. And yeah, you should be able to see that and follow the prompt. It's very easy for you to set up on your system. Okay. Now, just like Git has alternatives, GitHub also has alternatives. Then here are some of the alternatives of GitHub. We have GitLab, Bitbucket, we have the AWS Code Commit, and we have Google Cloud Code Repository, and we have Azure repos. So when you're done learning about Git and GitHub throughout the workshop, and you are very confident, sometimes you can try to get your hands around this and have vast knowledge them. Yeah, so if you've finally been able to, I think this is the hands-on part, if you've finally been able to configure to get your GitHub account, and you want to set up your username and mail, this is more like the prompt that you use on your terminal to do that. But then I think this is where we come to the hands-on before we go back to see how we can set up the pack. So if you have any question before we continue, please feel free to ask, and yeah, I should be able to help and clarify. And also, I think I will check on the comment if there is. Yeah, if you have any question, please, you can feel free to unmute yourself and ask. Okay, I think Peter already raised his hand. Sorry, just a moment.
Okay.
Yeah, before we continue, who was someone? Yeah, I can hear you, Peter. Go on.
Okay. Thank you so much for the session I've been following, and is it making sense? So I wanted to ask. So the version control system now and the cloud provider, let's say Git and GitHub now, for example. So does that mean that could each cloud um, code provider like GitHub, would they actually work with any of the version control systems, or each one is specifically tied to one? Like now, GitHub is just tied to Git, or would it be possible that GitHub could be working with like what was the other one you mentioned? Was it Mercury or something like that?
Oh, the other alternatives. The other.
Yeah, I'm just wondering that can the cloud providers work with multiple version control system, there must be a one-to-one kind of relationship.
Oh, okay. So thanks for that amazing question. So I think the version control, the cloud provider, like the cloud-based system that has integration with GitHub that I have used particularly is the Azure DevOps, right? So that's the only one that I know that has integration with GitHub. But then the others, I don't think they have integration with GitHub. I've not tried it, but then Azure DevOps, I use Azure because we all know that GitHub is it's affiliated to Microsoft, and Azure DevOps is also affiliated to Microsoft. So it's just Microsoft Azure DevOps. When you create your repository on GitHub, you should be able when you create your repository on GitHub, yeah, there's an option after creating the repository. How, when you create it there, they used to give some templates, some steps on how you can go up from there. So when you look at it, they only have option for Azure DevOps there. So I don't think, since the option for others are not indicated there, I feel like it is not, they don't provide, they don't have provision for that. It's just basically for Azure DevOps. Yeah, Peter, can you hear me? Okay, awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. All right, yeah. So Hofa, someone raised a hand. Hofa, please feel free. Yeah, Hofa. After Hofa, I think there's David.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Hofa.
Okay, my question is this. Between other version control system, if you have to choose,
Yeah.
why did you decide to choose Git? Did you get
Okay.
me?
Yeah. Yeah, I get your question. So I think this question, I feel like the best answer to this question, I think Git, it's more, you saw some of those criterias I give from the slide. I think there is something, sorry, let me get back there before I give you more context to why. So you can remember this slide where I shared about this. So Git, right, it makes provision for all this, right? And that is why Git is widely adopted. Like almost everyone that you know, if not for this presentation, and if not for the fact that for the sake of the some of the research that I've made to find out about some of these alternatives for Git and GitHub for Git, sorry, I don't even also on my own all this why I don't know that we have some of these alternatives here, right? The only alternatives I knew all those while used to be the alternative for GitHub, which is Bitbucket and the rest. But then this Git has this criteria, like it has all these, but it's better security, it's very reliable, it's scalable, it has all these. So I feel like when we're selecting things, that tools that that we want to use, most of the time we look at things that solve the problems that we need. So considering the fact that Git is able to solve everything that I need, that is why I feel like I have to go with Git. I don't know if that makes sense for you. How far? Can you hear me? All right, awesome. Yeah, so I think David George raised his hand. David, do you have a question? Please go on.
Okay, yeah, GM everyone. Yeah, my question, I don't know
Yeah.
if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, my own question is about when I'm working with a team, for example, as you said, I can make a change and then other people get to see my changes and then pull or push them. So what if I
Yeah,
want to be making the changes and then the whole repository, I do not want to clone the whole large bulk of files. I just want to push my changes and only work with what I'm pushing and pulling. Is it possible with Git?
Yeah, so Git, right? When you have your file, when you have your file on your GitHub, right? When you're making changes, it's not like, for example, you have a project that has varieties of files on your system. Let's say you, as the owner of the project, you have the project on your system, and or let's say you even clone it from somewhere. When you're making the changes, it's not like you when you make the changes, you add the changes. There is option to add all, and there's option to just add one particular changes. So when you add that particular changes to the file, right? Can you hear me, George? Are you with me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Aha. So when you add the changes to the file, you can decide to select the file where you want to add your changes. It's not like you pick the changes and add anywhere. Anything that you do, you have the power to control anything you do on GitHub, on Git, and using your GitHub account actually, right? Because everything you're pushing to your GitHub, you have the power to to select. You have the option to make it private. You have the option to make it public. You have the option to to push some particular changes, and you have the option not to push some particular changes. I don't know if that answers your question, or if you need more clarity, please let me know.
Okay, so let me understand in context is that I can decide what files I'm pushing the changes to and not have to clone the whole thing. Because when I'm
No,
checking my branches, it says you have some codes or some changes behind schedule. And then when you try to, it will have to tell rebasing, it will tell you you have to rebase, pull changes, push. I don't know if you're getting the whole context of what
so
I'm saying.
your question, right? You're trying to say, if you have a project on GitHub, right? You mean
Yes.
you don't want to clone the whole project into your system. You just want to clone some file from the project. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, no. So on GitHub, right, it does not provide that opportunity. I think when you are cloning a file from GitHub, when you have a repository that you're cloning, when you git clone, it clones everything from that. It picks everything that is on that repository into your system. And any changes that you are making on that file, as soon as, let's say you have a project on, let's say you have a front end project, right, that has both
Okay.
the back end and the front end on GitHub. When you're cloning it, it's not like you only have the option to clone only the front end and leave the back end on GitHub. When you're cloning, it clones both the front end and back end to you. So if you're making changes to the front end, it goes to the front end. If you're making changes to the back end, it goes that. I don't know if that explains it. Hello, George.
Yeah, the network is a little bit shaky on my side, but I
Shake.
get what you're saying. So if I'm okay, for example, I'm working with a front end and then there's a back end person, and I'm pushing only to my own front end. When the back end makes some changes, do I have to clone his own back end to my own project before pushing my own changes?
You said? Sorry, come again.
That what I meant was, let's say we are two people working on a team, and I'm working on the front end and he's working on the back end. If I
Uh-huh.
make changes on my own front end file, it's on one repository. Do I have to clone his own back end to my own folder before I push any changes?
Okay. So you are the question you are trying to ask, right? Let's say you and your friend are working on both front end and back end. Now the question is your front end and back end both on GitHub?
Yes, they are both on GitHub.
Your front end and your back end are both on GitHub, and both of you are sending to your central repository online, right?
Yes, sir.
So when both of you send to the central repository online, what you are trying to get here is that when you push your changes to that online, are you trying to say, I don't seem to understand how you're really trying to,
I
what
think
you're really trying
let,
to
let me
explain with
let
your
me
question.
let me tell you what he was trying to say. He was asking
Okay.
before he could
Mm-hmm.
work on his code. Does he
Mm-hmm.
need to clone the other person's code before he can now work and push? Like
Okay.
let's say
Yeah.
Mr. A is on front end and him is on back
Mm-hmm.
end. Mr. A works and pushes it to the central code. How will he now
Mm-hmm.
wants to work from where Mr. A stopped? Does he need to clone what Mr. A has
Oh.
done? That's
Oh,
what
no. I get it now. I get it now. So what you mean is the changes that he has made, you should be able to pull it before working from there. That means the person has made the changes and you pull it into your system before working from there. Do you understand now?
Okay,
yeah,
but
so
then
what
that
he's going to do is git pull. That's and not git clone.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Git pull. You're pulling the changes that the other person has made before you continue.
okay. I thought there was a way I could work around it without having to pull any changes.
No, when I make an update, for you to access that update, you will have to pull it. So when you pull it, then you see where I have the update that I have done. When you pull it now, then you see, then you can continue from there. I think that was the context where I explained the other time about I said Git works in the format of Git push and Git pull. So when you Git pull, when I Git push, I push my update, and you now, for you to access my update, you pull it into your local machine, then you check it from there and continue. All right. Yeah. So yeah, so I think because we have done this and yeah, time is not on our side. I feel like after this is more like the introductory section on Git and GitHub, like for the whole workshop. After this, the other people will be able to, there are other sections that will do more of practical. This is not like the beginning and the end. We'll start this after this. Tomorrow, I think there's going to be another section. So what the action that I would want each and every one of us to do afterwards, right? After today's section, you should be able to get Git in your system. And yeah, because of time, please, I'm trying to work in the speed of light because we have limited time. You should have Git. If you don't have Git in your system, you should be able to have Git. Then you should also be able to also create a GitHub account. After creating a GitHub account, I think that's like a go-to action for today's section, right? After that, yeah, tomorrow we'll take over from there. And I would also, maybe we'll get this because of time. I noticed there is, we just have limited time already. And yeah, when you get your GitHub account and you configure Git on your system, then from tomorrow we'll continue from there. Yeah, Francis, I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh yes, it does actually. All right. Hello everyone. Firstly, I want to apologize for this whole session being 1 hour. Okay, we've had issues with our card for Google Workspace that's been declining. It's supposed to extend more than this. So sorry for the rush. Hopefully, we get everything rectified by tomorrow. So with that in mind, we have a session tomorrow. All right. The original plan was we're supposed to migrate every single person that registered for this workshop, migrate them to the next call. So you're supposed to automatically get added to the event, like they check their calendar. So sorry once again for that. And thank you, Joseph, for your very insightful section. At least the basics of GitHub has been planted on their mind. And the only way from here now is up. Okay, when it comes to contribution and usage. I want to recognize Adijat Turayo. She is the program manager for the GitHub workshop that we are having currently at the Open Source Nest. And also, I want to say something. Janet, so, okay, so every day we have 1 hour for the session. No, no, no. Originally, it was supposed to be 2 hours, but like I said, we had issues with our card. Okay, and 1 hour is our max currently. I don't know if someone can give us solutions, please. Be very much happy to use your solution. And well, so I think Victoria is on the score. Victoria, are you on the score? Um, okay, I don't know if she's on this call currently. She's been having some network issues, I think, lately. But that'll be all for now. Please feel free, just go back to the Luma link, register. So when we are copying, you know, you get added to the remaining events. And if you have questions, just ask them on our group chat. Okay, WhatsApp would be faster. We also have Discord servers that we would like everybody to join. Then follow us on our handles. We have X, we have LinkedIn. So that's where you can find most of our updates. So I think that would be all for now. Sincerely, that would be all for now. I want to thank each and every one of you again
Yeah.
for turning up. Victoria is here. Hello,
Okay.
Vicky.
Hi, everybody. Sorry, I've been inactive for the past 24 hours, but thank you, Francis, for covering up. Yes, we are going to work on it. If you have any solution for that thing, please tell us. We plan to make our calls a full 2 hours, right? Please follow us if you have not followed us. Feel free to share because from now we are moving forward. This is the introduction. Thank you to Lucky Joseph. Thank you so much. Connect with him on LinkedIn. Your call, so you see them on your calendar. If you have not registered, register. If you have not joined our group chat, I don't think I need to be talking too much now because there are more conversations going on there. And yeah, have a good night, everybody, and prepare your minds for the next 5 days. Thank you.
Yeah, the nest is logging out. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, bye everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Victoria, please can you drop the WhatsApp link? You have the WhatsApp link with you. I think some people are requesting
It's
for it.
on our it's on our website. If you just click start contributing, to take you to the WhatsApp.
Oh, okay.
Or write type bit.ly.osn dash WhatsApp. Let me try to drop it. If you registered for
Oh,
this
okay.
call, you will see when we were saying join. So except you skipped it, you guys, I'll drop it in case anyone still needs it. But we put it in the registration link for this workshop.
Oh, okay.
Our Discord too is just OSN/Discord instead. Join our Discord. So thank you everyone till
Oh,
tomorrow.
okay. Oh, okay. I've sent the link. So
Okay.
see you guys tomorrow. Please don't be late. It's 7 p.m. Starting 7 p.m. tomorrow.